Hi, in this video we can talk about list slice. So far we've talked about how to access an individual item in a list. Now, there are times that it would be very useful to be able to access multiple items in a contiguous block inside a list. So in other words, we want to get a sublist or a slice of a list, and Python allows us to do that. So the syntax for that is, instead of just giving a single index inside the square bracket, the syntax for specifying a slice is we use a colon. And the colon will separate two numbers. The first number would be the beginning, the index of the first item in the slice. So in this case, I want to slice, let's say, from 0. So the beginning index would be index 0. And the second number here is the exclusive end index of the slice. So now notice what I said. It's an exclusive end. What an exclusive end index means that it specifies a sublist that's up to that particular index, but not including the items at the index itself. In other words, the last item in the slice would be at that end index minus 1. So, for example, if we want the first 3 items in that slice, then I start at 0. Now this is at index 1, at index 2, and then finally at index 3. Okay, because I only want things up to and including 2, then the end index I'm going to specify here will be 3. Again, 3, the item at index 3 itself, is not included in the actual slice. So let me run this, and there it is. And that's what this slide is telling us, that again, the beginning index is exclusive. It's exactly where you want the slice to start, but the end index is exclusive. It's 1 more than the index of the item that's actually in the slice. So with this definition for slice in mind, I would like you to try a few things. So first is, given the days of the week list that we wrote earlier, can you get a slice of it that contains all the weekdays? So that means we don't include Sunday and we don't include Saturday. Those are the weekends. So how do you get a slice that includes all the dates from Monday through Friday? Second thing is, what if we want to take a slice that is 1:2? What about 1:1? And finally, what if we flip this thing around? 3:2. What do we get? So think about these in your head first, given this definition, and then verify what you're thinking with actual code. All right, assuming you have had some time to work on it. So first, all the weekdays. So the weekday, Monday, starts at index 1, and it ends at index 5, Friday, but remember the index we have to specify is 1 beyond that, so we have to say 6. So let's run this and make sure, yeah, it gives us Monday through Friday. Now, also notice that we could, Saturday is at index minus 1, right? So we can actually also use minus 1 here, and that should give us exactly the same thing as before. The second question is, what does print days of the week 1, 2? What does that give us? So index 1 is Monday. Now index 2 is Tuesday, but it's 1 more than what we are actually going to get in the slice. So really, this slice should only have Monday. And let's make sure that's the case. And it only has Monday. Okay. And the next one is, okay, what if we actually do 1 and 1? All right, so it will start on Monday, but the last item is Monday itself, but -1. So this list is actually going to be empty. It will have nothing. Let's run that, and yep, indeed it has nothing. Okay, and finally, what if we actually flip the index around, such as we start at 3, and that will be Wednesday, but then we end at 2, which is smaller than our starting index. And in that case, hopefully you came to the same conclusion that it's also going to be empty. And here's another exercise for you, that from the list of months that we created earlier for another exercise, can you create another list that is a slice from the months of the year. We're going to call it spring. Springs in the Northern Hemisphere is usually from March through May. So yeah, get a slice that contains March through May. All right, assuming you've done that, hopefully. So here's my month of the year. Spring can be months of the year. So starting in March, so that's at index 2. Now, I'm going to have 3 months in there. So one quick way to do this is 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. So that's should give me 3 months in that slice. So let's put now spring, and hopefully it is the correct one. So yep, March, April, and May. Now, another thing I want to tell you is that the beginning and the ending index in a slice, they are actually optional. You don't have to specify them. So what happens if you omit one of them? Let's say, from 0, for this one, right now, what it is it's going to give us the first 3 items in the list, right? What if I get rid of the 0 here? Well, so the default, if the beginning index is not specified, is that it's going to start from the beginning of the list. So it effectively, the 0 is here. We just don't have to specify it. So this should give us exactly what we had before, which is what it does here. Now, what if I don't specify the end index? Well, the default then, it's goes all the way to the end of the list. So for this slice, we're going to start from items at index 3, and it just goes all the way to the end. So that should give us the last 3 numbers. And indeed it does. Now, given this definition, what do you think if we omit both of the beginning and the end index? What slice are you going to get? Well, given the default values for the beginning and the ending index, if they're omitted, what do you think what list this expression would give you? So if you think about it for a moment, what it should give you, if we omit both of them, is, well, the beginning index should be the beginning of the list, and the ending index should go all the way to the end of the list. So that should give us the whole list. So slicing with list in Python can actually get pretty fancy, and you can specify other things such as a step. Well, we've already seen using negative index, and there's even a slice built-in function for doing that. So many of them are not necessarily required right now. If there's a need to it for them, then we'll explain them. But feel free to explore on your own if you have to. I have a link here that links to an article that talks about this in depth.